Hello, my lovelies. It's time for another round of Have I Read It? So stay tuned. So for those of you that are new here, hi, welcome. For those that are not new here, welcome back. Have I Read It is one of my multiple TBR games that I play in order to pick my TBR for the month. And with my Have I Read It, you get to have a say in what I read. So what I do is I go back and I react to one of my hauls from over 3 years ago and tell you if I've read it, if I haven't read it, or if I've unhauled it. And I will take the ones that I haven't read and put them in a stack here. Granted, if they're part of a series, I'll just take the first book that in that series or the first book that I haven't read in that series and add it to the stack. And depending on how many are in that stack will depend on how many I have to read. You get to vote on the books in the stack. So if there are 1 through 10 books in the stack, then after all of your voting, I will select the number 1 voted book, and that will go onto my TBR for the next month. If there's 11 through 20, then I'll take the top 2 voted books, and so on and so on. I've had some months where I've only had like 1 book I had to read. I've had some months where I've had like 4 or 5 that I had to read or more. I've even had 1 month where I didn't have any from the Have I Read It, which was amazing. Like, it's only happened once. But there have been plenty where I've had massive stacks. So we're just gonna like dive right in and see how things go. I'm going to be doing 2 Have I Read It's this month. The first one, the one I'm doing today, is the library sale book haul part 1 that was posted on August 20th of 2018. My next one will be the library book sale part 2 that posted September 15th of 2018. So I have the video all pulled up, got my earbuds here, so let's get started. It looks like quite a hefty stack there, so fingers crossed. Here we go. Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today I have a library book sale haul for you, so stay tuned. So our local library has a sale twice a year, and I went, and oh my goodness, did I get a lot of books. So I'm actually breaking this into 2 parts because I have books that I purchased, and then I got to go back another day and I got a lot more books that I got free. So today I'm going to show you all of the books that I purchased, and then in part 2 I'll show you all of the free books that I got. So let me just tell you, as far as price goes on these books, the way they had it set up is all of like the children's and young adult books were 50 cents for a paperback and $1 for a hardcover. And all of the adult books or the collections, they were $1 for a paperback and $2 for a hardcover. And then there's one special edition book that I got that I think it was $5 that I paid for it. So let's just get into all of the books that I got. You're only seeing about half of them here. There's more. There's another stack just as big right here. Okay, let's get into it. The first book here is The Beauty of the End by Debbie Howells, and this is actually an ARC. Okay, I have not read that, so let me go get it. Okay, here we go. This is an ARC that came out August 2016, or the book came out August 2016. This says, from the acclaimed author of The Bones of You comes a haunting and heartbreaking new psychological thriller about a man thrust into the middle of a murder investigation, forced to confront the secrets of his ex-lover's past. Set in a borderland where the past casts its shadow on the present, with a time-shifting narrative that will mesmerize and surprise, The Beauty of the End is both a masterpiece of suspense and a powerful rumination on lost love. All right. So if you want me to read this, vote The Beauty of the End. All right, what do we got next?
Okay, so the next book we have here is Hallowed, an unearthly novel by Cynthia Hand.
Okay, I have not read that. That is part of a series, so I have to check and see if that's the first book in the series or not. And it is not. That's actually the second book in the Unearthly series. Let me see if I have Unearthly. I don't think I do. Hold on. Apparently, I was wrong. I do have it. I have it in paperback. This says, when Clara Gardner learns she's part angel, her entire life changes. She now has a purpose, a specific task she was put on this earth to accomplish, except she doesn't know what it is. Her visions of a raging forest fire and a mysterious boy lead her to a new high school in a new town, but provide no clear instruction. As Clara tries to find her way in a world she no longer understands, she encounters unseen dangers and choices she never thought she'd have to make. Between the boy in her vision and the boy in her life, between honesty and deceit, love and duty, good and evil, when the fire from her vision finally ignites, will Clara be ready to face her destiny? This sounds really good. So if you want me to read this, vote Unearthly. All right, let me get back to the video here. All right, next up.
Okay, so next up we have P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han.
Okay,
and again,
so
this is a
I
second
have
book
read
in a
this.
series.
However,
I don't have the first book yet,
I think I'm
so
going to mark this one as
I pulled it up on
unhauled
Goodreads,
because
so I will
I
tell you
did
what
end
this
up
says.
unhauling
What if all the
this
crushes you ever
particular
had
edition
found out how you felt
because
about
I
them
got
all at once?
like all of
16-year-old
them in
Laura
matching
Jean Song
paperbacks.
keeps
So
her love letters in a hat box her mother
I'm going to
gave
mark
her.
this one as unhauled.
They aren't love letters that anyone else wrote. Okay, next up is Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wine.
I have not read that. Let me go grab it. This was not an easy one to get to. Okay, here it is. This says, I have 2 weeks. You'll shoot me at the end, no matter what I do. That's what you do to enemy agents. It's what we do to enemy agents. But I look at all the dark and twisted roads ahead, and cooperation is the easy way out. Possibly the only way out for a girl caught red-handed doing dirty work like mine. And I will do anything to avoid SS Hopsterfuhrer von Linden interrogating me again. He has said that I can have as much paper as I need. All I have to do is cough up everything I can remember about the British war effort. And I'm going to. But the story of how I came to be here starts with my friend Maddie. She is the pilot who flew me into France, an Allied invasion of 2. We are a sensational team. Interesting. All right, so if you want me to read this, vote Codename Verity. All right, next up.
Okay, next up is Push by Sapphire. And this is the story of Precious Jones.
I have read Push. Yay, I can mark one on that column. All right, next up.
Okay, so next up is Charles Dickens' Best Stories.
Really? Okay. Hold on. Here it is. No, I have not read this entire book. I've read some stories, but I have definitely not read this entire 669 page book with tiny text. But if you want me to read Charles Dickens' Best Stories, vote for that. Because I have not read that. Next.
Okay, next up is Find Her by Lisa Gardner.
I don't know if I've read that one, so I have to check. Hold on. Okay, this one is difficult because it's part of a series, but I feel like this is a series that you don't necessarily have to read these books in order, but the way I am, I have to read them in order. So I think what I'm gonna do is, I've read the first book in this series, which was Alone. This is the Detective D.D. Warren series, and it says D.D. Warren is a Boston police detective. Okay, so I've read the first one. I have not read the second one, and this one's like the 8th book. So, and I don't even have all of the books in between. Like, I don't have books 3, 4, 6, 7. So let me just go grab book 2. Hold on. Okay, here is book 2, Hide, and this one says, "You have good reason to be afraid. It was a case that haunts Bobby Dodge to this day. The case that nearly killed him and changed his life forever. Now, in an underground chamber on the grounds of an abandoned Massachusetts mental hospital, the gruesome discovery of 6 mummified corpses resurrects his worst nightmare. The return of a killer he thought dead and buried. There's no place to run. Bobby's only lead is wrapped around a dead woman's neck. Annabelle Granger has been in hiding for as long as she can remember. Her childhood was a blur of new cities and assumed identities, but what or who her family was running from, she never knew. Now a body is unearthed from a grave wearing a necklace bearing Annabelle's name, and the danger is too close to escape. This time, she's not going to run. Oh. You know he will find you. The new threat could be the dead psychopath's copycat, his protege, or something far more terrifying. Dodge knows the only way to find him is to solve the mystery of Annabelle Granger, and to do that he must team up with his former lover, partner, and friend D.D. Warren from the Boston PD. But the trail leads back to a woman from Bobby's past who may be every bit as dangerous as the new killer. A beautiful survivor turned avenger with an eerie link to Annabelle. From its tense opening pages to its shocking climax, Hide is a thriller that delves into our deepest, darkest fears, where there is no one to trust, where there is no place left to hide." Okay, so if you want me to read this, vote Hide. I'm sorry if you hear background noise there. Marty and Xander are kind of walking around. All right, let me get back to my video. Next up.
Next, I have Novelist Essential Guide to Creating Plot by James Madison Davison.
Okay, I still have that, but I'm not going to count that in this at all. Yeah, I'm just not going to count that in this because that's something like a reference type thing. So yeah, just skipping that one. Next.
Okay, so next up is Mine by Katie Evans.
Okay, I have not read that. Let me check and see if that's part of a series. Okay, so I have not read that one. However, it is not the first book in a series. It's the second book. And the first book is called Real. And I'm going to put that up here. I looked and I can find that on Scribd. So I can listen to the first book if y'all vote for that. So the first book is called Real, and it says, "A fallen boxer, a woman with a broken dream, a competition. He even makes me forget my name. One night was all it took, and I forgot everything and anything except the sexy fighter in the ring who sets my mind ablaze and my body on fire with wanting. Remington Tate is the strongest, most confusing man I've ever met in my life. He's the star of the dangerous underground fighting circuit, and I'm drawn to him as I've never been drawn to anything in my life. I forget who I am, what I want, with just one look from him. When he's near, I need to remind myself that I am strong, but he is stronger. And now it's my job to keep his body working like a perfect machine, his taut muscles primed and ready to break the bones of his next opponents. But the one he's most threatening to now is me. I want him without fear, without reservations. If only I knew for sure what it is that he wants from me." So, if you want me to read this, vote Real. And I need to put something here. I'm just going to put this book here as sort of a placeholder so I know how many I have there. All right, let me get back to the video. How many do we have here already? We've already got 6 in the stack. Okie dokie. And we are not that far into this haul. Great. Next up.
Okay, next up we have French Kiss, which is the sequel to New York Times bestselling South Beach by Amy Friedman.
Okay, I just said this was a sequel. So let me see. I don't think I have the first book. Hold on. Okay, so I'm actually going to mark this one as unhauled. I have it right here. I looked up the first book. I don't own it. I'm not that interested. I'm not interested enough to buy it or any of that. So this one is going to get marked as unhauled, and it's going to go into my unhaul pile here. And we'll just continue on. Next up.
Okay, next up is Blue Blood's Key to the Repository by Melissa de la Cruz.
I have not read that one. Let me see where that is in the series. I have read some of the Blue Blood series. So that's book 4.5. And it looks like I've read the first 2 and need to read book 3 next. So let me find Revelations, which is book 3. Hold on. Sorry if there was an angle change, but my battery died in that as well. Okay, so here is Revelations. This, like I said, is the 3rd book in the Blue Blood series, which follows this group, essentially vampires. They came over with like the Mayflower, and that's really all I can tell you. It's been a minute too since I've read the 2nd book, but I still pretty much remember it. Also, I think I got all of these signed by Melissa de la Cruz a while back, which is kind of cool. Okay, so if you want me to read this, vote Revelations. All right, let me get back to the video and we will continue on.
Okay, next up we have The Almost Moon by Alice Sebold, who is author of The Lovely Bones.
I have to check. I might have unhauled this one. Yes, this is one that's somewhere in either this unhaul pile or a different unhaul pile where I actually got rid of it already. All right, so back to the video. Oh, and yeah, so I'll just mark that as unhauled. Next up.
Next we have Wonder by R.J. Palacio.
Okay, I have not read that. Let me go grab it. Okay, here it is. And this was a discarded library book. Well, obviously, because it was from the library sale. But I did get it signed and personalized by her. Okay, let's see. This says, August Augie Pullman was born with a facial difference that prevented him from going to a mainstream school until now. He's about to enter 5th grade at Beecher Prep, and if you've ever been the new kid, then you know how hard that can be. The thing is, Augie's just an ordinary kid with an extraordinary face. But can he convince his new classmates that he's just like them, despite appearances? And I've heard really, really good things about this book. So if you want me to read this, vote Wonder. All right, next up.
Okay, next up is The Lost Queen by Freya Jones.
I don't know if I've read that one. Hold on. Okay, I have not read that one. It is the 2nd book in the Fairy Path series. And I haven't read the first one, so let me grab the first one. It's actually showed up quite a few times on these Have I Read It's because of getting other books in the series. So give me just a moment. Okay, here is the Fairy Path. And this says, Anita was living in an ordinary life until an elegant stranger pulled her into another world. Swept away into a court of magic and beauty, she discovers she is Tiana, the lost princess of Fairy. Since Tiana's mysterious disappearance 500 years before, Fairy has been sunk into darkness and gloom. With her return, Fairy comes alive again as a land of winged children, glittering balls, and fantastic delights. But Tiana can't forget Anita's world or the boy she loved there. Torn between two loves and between two worlds, Tiana slowly remembers why she disappeared and realizes that she is the only one who can stop a sinister plan that threatens the entire world of fairy. So, if you want me to read this, vote The Fairy Path. And I think that's gets us up to 9 books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. We're getting very, very close. I have a feeling I'm going to have to read more than just the top voted book. Because we're only like a third. We're only like a third of the way through this all. Okay. Next up.
Okay, so the next book I have here is 50 Shades Darker by E.L. James.
I haven't read that. I don't know. I think that's book 2 in the 50 Shades of Grey series, and I have not read that either. Yeah, it is the second book. Okay, let me go see if I can find it. Yeah, I've never actually read this or even watched the movie. Let's see. Apparently this is a good choice. Goodreads Choice Awards finalist for Best Romance. But I've also heard not great things about this. This says, when literature student Anastasia Steele goes to interview young entrepreneur Christian Grey, she encounters a man who is beautiful, brilliant, and intimidating. The unworldly, innocent Anna is startled to realize she wants this man, and despite his enigmatic reserve, finds she is desperate to get close to him. Unable to resist Anna's quiet beauty, wit, and independent spirit, Grey admits he wants her too, but on his own terms. Shocked yet thrilled by Grey's singular erotic tastes, Anna hesitates. For all the trappings of success, his multinational businesses, his vast wealth, his loving family, Grey is a man tormented by demons and consumed by the need to control. When the couple embarks on a daring, passionately physical affair, Anna discovers Christian Grey's secrets and explores her own dark desires. Erotic, amusing, and deeply moving, the 50 Shades trilogy is a tale that will obsess you, possess you, and stay with you forever. So if you want me to read this, vote 50 Shades of Grey. And that makes 10. So if we have one more, I have to read at least the top 2 books. I'm guaranteeing that's going to happen because there's a lot left in this. All right, next up.
All right, next up we have Complete Me by J. Kenner.
I haven't read that either. Hold on. Okay, let's see. This is another erotic romance. This says, our desire runs deep, but our secrets cut close. Beautiful, strong, and commanding, Damien Stark fills a void in me that no other man can touch. His fierce cravings push me beyond the brink of bliss and unleash a wild passion that utterly consumes us both. Yet beneath his need for dominance, he carries the wounds of a painful past. Haunted by a legacy of dark secrets and broken trust, he seeks release in our shared ecstasy, the heat between us burning stronger each day. Our attraction is undeniable, our obsession inevitable, yet not even Damien can run from his ghosts or shield us from the dangers yet to come. Okay, so if you want me to read this, vote Complete Me. Oh, goodness gracious. Next.
Okay, next up is Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levin. And what really got me about this book was it said the Stephen King Horror Library.
Nope, haven't read that one. Haven't read anything ever. Okay, here we go. This says, Rosemary and Guy Woodhouse were delighted at the chance to move into the Bramford, one of Manhattan's oldest and most celebrated apartment houses. Their friend Hutch urged them not to. He knew of too many shadows in the Bramford's past. Unsavory tenants like Adrian Marcato, who had practiced witchcraft, and the monstrous Trench sisters. But Rosemary and Guy were clear-thinking and not at all superstitious. They dismissed Hutch's warnings and moved in. At first, they were completely happy. Rosemary hung curtains and planned a nursery for the baby she hoped to have someday. Guy pursued his career as a stage and television actor. They met their neighbors who were friendly and unintrusive, but then one day when Rosemary was down in the basement laundry room, a girl her own age came in. Quietly and with a compelling matter-of-factness, Ira Levin tells a story of mounting terror and icy climactic shock in a book that manages to be wildly entertaining as well. Described by Truman Capote as a darkly brilliant tale of modern deviltry that induces the reader to believe the unbelievable. Rosemary's Baby was both a critical and popular success when it first appeared in 1967, and in his introduction to this exclusive Stephen King Horror Library edition, King discusses Levin's skill as the Swiss watchmaker of the suspense novel and expresses his utter admiration for the way the novel takes urban paranoia to the next level, sheer terror. Okay, so if you want me to read this, vote Rosemary's Baby. Alrighty, next up.
Next we have The Bachelorette Party by Karen McCullough Lutz.
Okay, let me look this one up. Okay, I have not read that, so let me go find it. Here it is. This says, after being left at the altar by her soap star fiance, LA high school teacher Zadie Roberts wants nothing to do with love and romance. Still, with the help of her best buddy Gray, she may somehow survive the trauma of the wedding that wasn't. That is, until Gray gets engaged to Zadie's prim and proper cousin Helen, and Zadie is dragged back into wedding festivity hell. The coup de grace is Helen's bachelorette party, thrown by her clique of prissy friends and certain to be a day of torture. But when the Pinot Grigio goes down and the sweater sets come off, things get out of control. Helen turns into a girl gone wild and manages to get herself into a sticky situation that just might sink the happy couple for good. And meanwhile, Zadie's own love life takes a most unexpected turn. And this sounds really cute and funny. So if you want me to read this, vote The Bachelorette Party. Oh my goodness, this pile is getting so big. We're already up to 13 books and we're getting close to the halfway point. Next.
Okay, on to the next book. Next we have I've Got Your Number by Sophie Kinsella.
I have not read that. Of course not. Let me make sure that that is not part of a series. It is not, so let me go grab that. This is a thick book. This says, I've lost it. The only thing in the world I wasn't supposed to lose, my engagement ring. It's been in Magnus's family for 3 generations, and now the very same day his parents are coming, I've lost it. The very same day. Do not hyperventilate, Poppy. Stay positive. Poppy Wyatt has never felt luckier. She's about to marry her ideal man, Magnus Tavish, but in one afternoon, her happily ever after begins to fall apart. Not only has she lost her engagement ring in a hotel fire drill, but in the panic that follows, her phone is stolen. As she paces shakily around the lobby, she spots an abandoned phone in a trash can. Finders keepers, now she can leave a number for the hotel to contact her when they find her ring. Perfect. Well, perfect except that the phone's owner, businessman Sam Roxton, doesn't agree. He wants his phone back and doesn't appreciate Poppy reading his messages and wading into his personal life. What ensues is a hilarious and unpredictable turn of events as Poppy and Sam increasingly upend each other's lives through emails and text messages. As Poppy juggles wedding preparations, mysterious phone calls, and hiding her left hand from Magnus and his parents, she soon realizes that she is in for the biggest surprise of her life. This does sound super cute. So if you want me to read this, vote I've Got Your Number. And I don't think I said it earlier, but you can vote for as many books as you like, and they'll all count in the votes. Anything you want me to read, go ahead and vote for it. Oh my goodness, there's so many books here. Next.
And next up is a book that I actually got from Marty, and that is Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, and it's based on the movie.
Okay, so I'm marking this one as unhauled because this was not for me. This was a book for Marty. So, yay. Next.
Okay, so I'm going to move this giant stack so I can get to the other giant stack behind it. Okay, so here's the other giant stack of books I have to show you. Okay, next up is A Beautiful Bombshell by Christina Lauren.
I have not read that, but that is part of a series. So let me find out what the first book is. Okay, so that particular one is book 2.5 in the series, and I don't have book 1, but I did look and it is on Scribd. Okay, I'm going to stick this book as a placeholder here. If you want me to read, oh, let me tell you about Beautiful Bastard. That's the first book and the name of the series. Here, I'll scoot over. I'll put it right here on the screen. This says, an ambitious intern, a perfectionist executive, and a whole lot of name calling. Whip smart, hardworking, and on her way to an MBA, Chloe Mills has only one problem. Her boss, Bennett Ryan. He's exacting, blunt, inconsiderate, and completely irresistible. A beautiful bastard. Bennett has returned to Chicago from France to take a vital role in his family's massive media business. He never expected that the assistant who'd been helping him from abroad was the gorgeous, innocently provocative, completely infuriating creature he now has to see every day. Despite the rumors, he's never been one for a workplace hookup, but Chloe's so tempting, he's willing to bend the rules or outright smash them if it means he can have her all over the office. As their appetites for one another increase to a breaking point, Bennett and Chloe must decide exactly what they're willing to lose in order to win each other. And I think that's going to be a fun, erotic romance. So if you want me to read that, vote Beautiful Bastard. And like I said, I'll put this other book in its place so I can keep up with the number here. We are up to 15 at this point. All right. Next up.
All right, next up we have Black Satin by Joan Elizabeth Lloyd.
I have not read that. Hold on. Okay, here we go. This says, in this deliciously daring novel, two former college roommates, each a woman in her mid-30s, experience a world of erotic fantasy fulfillment guaranteed to exceed every reader's wildest dreams. Carla, a suburban widow and mother of 3, becomes reacquainted with Ronnie, a glamorous woman whose marriage does not prevent her from leading a mysterious and independent lifestyle. Enticed by the promise of sophisticated sensuality as she learns more about her old friend's business, Carla is led by Ronnie into the exciting world of off-center sex. Together, they decide to offer an exclusive service whereby they assist their attractive male friends in selecting and acting out personalized erotic scenarios. There is Bryce, who enjoys playing doctor, 40-year-old Bobby, a naughty boy, in Gucci loafers who gets his pleasure from being disciplined by his teacher, and Dennis and the other members of an exclusive sex club who give new meaning to the word voluptuary. These and many more accompany Carla and Ronnie into a world where pleasure has few limits. It's also a relatively short book, like it's only 201 pages. So if you want me to read this, vote Black Satin. I feel like the stack's gonna just fall over. It's up to here. All right, next up.
Okay, so this book here is actually the only one that I got that was like a special one, so it costs something different. And I think it's just because it's a really old edition, and that is Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll.
I have read Alice in Wonderland. Yay. All right, next.
Okay, next up we have Natchez Burning by Greg Iles, and wow, this is a big book.
That is a big book. Let me see if it's part of a series. Okay, it is part of a series. It's actually the 4th book. Okay, so I don't have the first book. I don't have the first 3 books. The first book is called The Quiet Game, and it is on Scribd, so I need to find a book to put as a... You know what? I'm going to use this Sips by box. It's a placeholder. Okay, so here, let me move over so I can put the thing on the screen. The Quiet Game. It says the New York Times bestselling author of Spandu Phoenix and Mortal Fear returns with a rich and atmospheric novel of high suspense. When recently widowed Penn Cage leaves Houston with his young daughter and returns to his hometown seeking peace, he finds something very different. Natchez, Mississippi is the jewel of the antebellum South, a city of old secrets and older money. Upon learning that his father is being blackmailed, Penn finds himself reopening the most highly charged murder case in the town's history, searching for the evidence that could bring down the judge who nearly destroyed his father years ago. As the town closes ranks against him, Penn is joined by Caitlin Masters, a young newspaper publisher, on a deadly quest to find answers to one of the darkest chapters of American history. A quest that pits them against the FBI, a band of brothers still fiercely guarding the tainted legacy of J. Edgar Hoover. But Penn's most dangerous journey must be made alone, into the abiding mystery of his own past, and into the mind and heart of a woman he lost 20 years ago, and who still has the power to save or destroy him. I mean, it does sound quite interesting. And the reason I originally got the Natchez, what is it called? Natchez Burning book is two reasons. One, Natchez is the city in which I was born. And two, my mom knows Greg Iles. She actually went to high school, or went through all of school with him. And she talks to him occasionally. She actually knows him. So I thought that was really cool, which is why I picked up the book. So, if you want me to read The Quiet Game, vote for that. Okay. Oh my goodness. That's a stack. Okay, next up.
Okay, next up we have The 10th Circle by Jodi Picoult.
I haven't read that. This is one of those ridiculous rounds of Have I Read It where I haven't read any of it. Well, I mean, I've read some of it, but not. The ratio here is bad. The ratio here is very bad. Okay, here is The 10th Circle. This says, 14-year-old Trixie Stone is in love for the first time. She's also the light of her father Daniel's life. A straight-A student, a pretty, popular freshman in high school, a girl who's always seen her father as a hero. That is, until her world is turned upside down with a single act of violence. Suddenly, everything Trixie has believed about her family and herself seems to be a lie. Could the boyfriend who once made Trixie wild with happiness have been the one to end her childhood forever? She says that he is, and that is all it takes to make Daniel, a seemingly mild-mannered comic book artist with a secret tumultuous past he has hidden even from his family, venture to hell and back to protect his daughter. With The 10th Circle, Jodi Picoult offers her most powerful chronicle yet as she explores the unbreakable bond between parent and child and questions whether you can reinvent yourself in the course of a lifetime or if your mistakes are carried forever. Sounds quite interesting. So if you want me to read this, vote The 10th Circle. Okay, we're up to 18 books now. Next up.
Next we have The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. And this is one of the great illustrated classics.
Okay, I have read that, but I also think I've unhauled it. It's either already gone or it's in this unhaul stack. So I'm going to mark this one as unhauled. Next.
Next we have Man Whore by Katie Evans.
I have not read that one. Let me see if it's part of a series or not. Okay, it is part of a series. However, it is book 1. So let me go grab that. Okay, here we go. This says, is it possible to expose Chicago's hottest player without getting played? This is the story I've been waiting for all my life, and its name is Malcolm Kyle Preston Logan Saint. Don't be fooled by that last name, though. There's nothing holy about the man except the hell his parties raise. The hottest entrepreneur Chicago has ever known, he's a man with too much money to spend and too many women vying for his attention. Mysterious, privileged, legendary, his entire life has been surrounded by the press as they dig for tidbits to see if his fairy tale life is for real or all mirrors and social media lies. Since he hit the scene, his secrets have been his and his alone to keep, and that's where I come in. Assigned to investigate Saint and reveal his elusive personality, I'm determined to make him the story that will change my career, but I had never imagined he would change my life. Bit by bit, I start to wonder if I'm the one discovering him or if he's uncovering me. What happens when the man they call Saint makes you want to sin? So if you want me to read this, vote man whore. Okay, that puts us at 19. Oh my goodness. Next up.
Next, we have another of the great illustrated classics, and this is A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens.
I have read that, but again, I think that's one that is that's been unhauled. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark that as unhauled. Next up.
And then we have The Space Between by Brenna Yavanoff.
Haven't read it. Let me see if it's part of a series. Okay, it's not part of a series, so I'll be right back. Here we go. Let's see. This says, everything burns in pandemonium. A city in hell made of chrome and steel where there is no future in life is an expanse of frozen time. That's where Daphne lives. The daughter of a demon and a fallen angel, she wonders what lies in store for her. Will she become a soulless demon like her sisters, or follow in the footsteps of her brother Obi, whose life is devoted to saving lost souls on Earth? All she wants is to find a place where she belongs. When Obi saves a bleeding, broken boy named Truman from the brink of death and then suddenly goes missing, Daphne runs away to Earth to find him. But on Earth, everything is colder and more terrifying, and Daphne struggles between her demon instincts and her growing yet achingly unfamiliar feelings for Truman. As Daphne and Truman search for Obi, they must navigate the jealousies and alliances of the violent archangels who stand in their way, but Daphne also discovers unexpectedly what it means to love and be human in a world where human is the hardest thing to be. The Space Between is a breathtaking and transcendent new novel about a demon girl's search for love on Earth. Interesting. Okay, so if you want me to read this, vote The Space Between. Okay, so that put us at 20. And that means if I get one more that I have not read, then I have to read the top 3 voted books of this video. I still have to do it for the other video and all my other TBR games. Next.
Next we have The Complete Stories and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh my gosh, really? Hold on. Okay, so this is 821 pages of tiny text. But if you want me to read this, vote Complete Stories and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe. Yep. And I had to put it down here because this stack is just too big. So we're at 21, which means I have to read the top 3 voted books. Okay. I hope part 2 of this haul I did better. Next up.
Next we have Sex, Murder, and a Double Latte by Kyra Davis.
I haven't read that either. Here we go. Okay, this says, When a mystery writer cries bloody murder, everyone blames her overactive imagination. Thriller scribe Sophie Katz is as hard-boiled as a woman who drinks grande caramel brownie frappuccinos can be. Maybe it's from a lifetime of fielding dumb comments about her half-black, half-Jewish ethnicity. My sister married a Polynesian. I just love your culture. So Sophie knows it's not paranoia or post-divorce, living alone again jitters when she becomes convinced that a crazed reader is sneaking into her apartment to reenact scenes from her books. The police, however, can't tell a good plot from an unmarked grave. When a filmmaker friend is brutally murdered in the manner of a death scene in one of his movies, Sophie becomes convinced that a copycat killer is on the loose and that she's the next target. If she doesn't solve the mystery, her own bestseller will spell out her doom, cursing her grisly imagination. Why, oh why did she have to pick the axe? Sophie engages in some real-life gumshoe tactics. The man who swoops in to save her in dark alleys at night is mysterious new love interest Anatoly Duransky. Of course, if this were fiction, Anatoly would be her prime suspect. ... With a story as delicious as designer coffee and with twice the jolt, Davis and her muse, Sophie Katz, will blow you away with sex, murder, and hilarity. And this sounds super cute. I should double check and make sure this is not like part of a series. I don't think that I've ever looked. It is a part of a series. It's the Sophie Katz Murder Mystery series, but this is book 1. Let me see how many books are in it. Oh wow, it looks like there's 7 books in this series. That's cool. Okay, so if you want me to read this, vote sex, murder, and a double latte. All right, let me get back to the video and we'll see what's next.
Okay, so next I have a set here. I have Mark Twain, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
I don't know that I have ever read The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. I might have as a kid. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I watched the movie, but I can't remember if I read the book. I know I haven't read that edition. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and tell you now that I haven't read any of those 4. And they're not part of a series or anything. So I'm going to go grab all 4 of them. 1 second. Okay, so I can just go ahead and tell you the titles here. We have The Innocents Abroad by Mark Twain. We have The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. And Life on the Mississippi by Mark Twain. I have not read any of those. I'm not going to tell you about each of them though, because I just want to get through this. And now I'm at 26 books. Okay, so there's only like 5 minutes left in this video. So I'm hoping that there's not 4 books in that 5 minutes. Or actually, I should say 5 books. Okay. Okay. Next.
Okay, so this next book is a book that I got for Xander, and it is The Extraordinary Adventures of Ordinary Boy by William Boniface.
So that, like I said, it was a book for Xander, and I think that's actually been unhauled as well because it was book 2 and then he lost interest and wasn't interested in book 1. So I don't think we ever got book 1, and I think I got rid of that one. I think. So I'm just going to mark that as unhauled. Next up.
Okay, and then the last book I have here, oh my gosh, we finally got to the last book, is The Girl Who Played with Fire by Stieg Larsson.
I have not read that, and that's part of a series. Hold on. So that is book 2, and I literally just got book 1 from Kaylani. So let me go get it and I'll be right back. Okay, here it is. This one says, Stieg Larsson's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo combines murder mystery, family saga, love story, and financial intrigue into a complex and atmospheric novel. Harriet Wenger, a scion of one of Sweden's wealthiest families, disappeared over 40 years ago. All these years later, her aged uncle continues to seek the truth. He hires Michael Blomkvist, a crusading journalist recently trapped by a liberal conviction, to investigate. He is aided by the pierced and tattooed punk prodigy Lisbeth Salander. Together, they tap into a vein of inequity and corruption. Okay, so if you want me to read this, vote for The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Yeah, Kaylani gave me this. I was like, I knew I had one of the books in the series, but I didn't have the first book. So now I have the first book. So if you want me to read this, you can vote. That was the last book in part 1. And I had 27 books for you to vote. And as I said, I'll be taking the top 3 books from your votes. There's quite an interesting selection here, and my brain kind of hurts. Oh my goodness. I am worried about part 2. I'm worried about part 1, but I'm also worried about how part 2 is going to go after having seen this. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye.